My name's John McCarthy. I'm an official for the California State Athletic Commission. I do MMA, do boxing also for judging.
How is MMA officiated?
What we have is a system, and what we have is the setup for MMA is we do have one referee that is in charge of the bout.
I want you to protect yourself at all times, obey my commands at all times.
We also have 3 judges that are scoring the bout. With the 3 judges, we have 2 ringside physicians that are there for the safety of the fighter and to give advice to the referee about letting a fight continue, maybe stopping the fight based upon injuries or things that happen in the fight. And we also have what we call our inspectors. The inspectors are the people that you see coming into the ring with the fighters at the beginning. Many times they're going to be wearing a sports coat jacket or a tie. They're the ones standing there with them, and you see them also in the corner of the fighter, and they will be there in the corner the entire fight. They actually manage the trainers and the handlers of the fighter, making sure that they're doing everything appropriate within the regulations of the state. They are also going to go up during the breaks and watch the fighter, watch what is being applied to the fighter, watch what is being said between the fighter and the trainer so they can notify the referee if they hear something that the referee might have a concern with or might want to investigate. The other people that you'll see outside of the ring is we have our commission table. The commission table is going to usually have the person that's in charge of the actual entire show. That's usually our executive director. It can be a lead inspector that will be there. And what they're going to have is they're the ones that collect the scorecards, they tabulate the scores, they give the scores out to the ring announcer who then gives it to the public, and they are there to oversee the entire show.
How do the referees work with the ringside physician?
Working with the ringside physician is very important for the referee. We want the referee and that ringside physician to actually be a team. There's multiple ringside physicians for a fight, at least 2. Normally, if it's a bigger show, there's going to be at least 4, sometimes 6. But it's important that the referee and the lead ringside official have a connection as far as they understand what each other is doing, what they need to be done during the fight. The whole way of looking at it is the ringside physician is there, again, for the overriding safety of the fighters. So is the official, the referee inside. What the referee is going to do is, while the fight is going on, if the fight's just taking its natural course and gets to the end of the round, normally that referee is going to visit the corner of each fighter, and after that he should go and actually visit with the ringside physician, giving, even if it's just a, hey, they're both okay, giving a thumbs up, or giving some information to the ringside physician that they are seeing as far as what's going on in the fight. In reverse, we also want the ringside physician to give information to the referee if they believe that they see something or if they're concerned with one of the combatants during the fight. This relationship is very important because it adds to the safety for the fighters involved in the fight, and that's our most important concern.
When would you end a fight?
There's a lot of ways for fights to end. You know, when we talk about MMA, we've got KOs, we've got TKOs, we've got submissions, and we've got a variety of submissions. When we talk about submissions, when you hear submitted, or submission, normally that means that we have a fighter that has been choked unconscious or has received an injury. We'll say an arm bar has actually done something to cause an injury as great as a dislocation or a break of the bone. That would be winner by submission. A lot of times you'll hear it technical submission. We also have all these different ways for fights to end by tap out, verbal tap out, and then getting into judges' decisions. We have unanimous decisions, split decisions, majority decisions. Then we get into draws, majority draws, split draws. We get all these different ways that the fights can end, even going down into no contest, disqualifications. All of these are different ways for the fight to end. When we have a fighter that's hurt, and hurt to the point where they cannot intelligently defend themselves because their brain has been scrambled, and we stop the fight, we're going to label that fight a KO. When we have a TKO, that's usually a stoppage when we have an injury or we have the fighter does not intelligently defend themselves. There's a difference between the two. When I have a fighter that cannot intelligently defend themselves, it's because their brain has been altered. They are not the person they were when they walked into that cage or ring, and they don't have the ability to defend themselves. When we have the TKO and we have the fighter does not defend themselves, it's because they are in a position where they know who they are, they know where they're at, they just have become overwhelmed by the abilities of their opponent, And so with that, they stop fighting. They just get to the point where all they're trying to do is defend and protect, and we stop the fight and call it a TKO.
How do you score an MMA fight?
4 elements, basically. Effective striking, effective grappling, ring or octagon control, and effective aggressiveness. Now, when you look at those, they're not all of the same quality. So when the judge is watching the fight, he's looking for the effectiveness of the grappling and the effectiveness of the striking. The striking being punches, kicks, elbows, knees, even shoulder bumps. All of them, the judge has to look at and give value to each one, and they're all different. The grappling, same thing. When we're talking about maneuvers on the ground, takedowns, all of those things, there's difference in how the judge is going to assess a value to them. When we look at takedowns, we're looking for amplitude. Amplitude is a combination of elevation of our opponent, bringing them up in the air, and then bringing them down with impact. When we have a takedown like that, that's going to score well with the judges. When we have something where a person just gets, we'll say, an inside trip, and we have the people just kind of rolling down to the ground, the judge is not going to give that a lot of validity as far as a big score because it's a simple takedown. Now the judge is looking more towards, okay, what are you going to do with the position? And that's when they're going to give score towards the takedown. When we look at a fight, there's only 2 elements that make up a fight. That is effective striking and grappling. They do those dependent upon which one took place more inside of that round. And they will give more credit to whatever element took place more. Only when the grappling and the striking is dead even that the judge now is going to go into, okay, who is the person that controlled the cage and who is my aggressor in the fight to give him a winner of the round. When they're looking at what we're going to give as a winner of the round, we go on a 10-point must system. That 10-point must system is 10 points for the winner and 9 or less for the loser of the round. So we can have a 10-10 round. A 10-10 round is saying that we have 2 competitors that were completely even in every aspect of that fight. They competed to the point where there was no difference in the striking, no difference in the grappling. The control of the cage was the same. The aggression was the same. After 5 minutes of fighting, the judge sees no difference at all in the level that each fighter brought out in that round. So that's why a 10-10 round is extremely rare. We'll have a fight where the fighters come out, it's the 3rd round of the fight, and we'll say an injury occurs, they both clash heads and we have cuts and we need to stop the fight due to the injuries, and it's only been 15 seconds of the round. It could be that, you know what, those 15 seconds were even. The judges are going to probably score it at 10-10 in that situation. Looking at a 5-minute round, you will not find many 10-10 rounds. When we get into 10-9, a 10-9 round is a close margin round, meaning that it was a close fight between the 2 individuals. Just one was just a little bit better in certain areas than the other. Because if you dominate your opponent in the round and you damage them in that round, you should be looking for that judge to be giving you a 10-8 round. That is a shall give, almost like the knockdown in boxing. So when we have just domination, we want the judges to consider, was that enough domination of the round with no offense coming off of one of my fighters to say that they don't deserve a 9 points in that round, they're going to get an 8. We want them to consider, is that a 10-8 round? In reverse, we can have a round where there isn't really domination, but there's enough damage in certain aspects of that fight and certain points where someone gets damaged enough and hurt enough, where we want the judges to consider, was there enough damage in that round to say that this is a different round than a 10-9 and we're going to make it a 10-8. Off of that, we have 10-7. We don't have many 10-7. When we talk about 10-7, we're talking about an overwhelming domination of the round by the fighter. We're talking about huge damage. We're talking about multiple knockdowns in the round. We're talking about one fighter trying to survive the round, not trying to fight. That's when you'll see the 10-7.
If you have any questions, contact the Commission by Facebook or Twitter, or send the Commission an email at csac.dca.ca.gov. On behalf of the California State Athletic Commission, thank you.